All right, rise and shine, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday. We're talking Week 15 in the NFL. Hopefully, everybody is off to a good start in their fantasy championships or semifinals, whatever you call it. I got one league where I started with Waller and Diggs, and I'm feeling real good. And then the other league, he has Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. I ain't feeling so good in that one.
No, I'm in a similar boat with you. I got a couple matchups going, and I'm excited to see how they play out today. It always seems like, after the Thursday game or Saturday game, like what's going to happen, but a lot of times it flips the script on you.
Well, I mean, in the league that I have Waller and Diggs, I also have Derrick Henry, um, Jonathan Taylor, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf. It's one of those games like if I don't win this one, I'm going to be seriously like just annoyed and upset because you feel like you've already cashed in those checks.
No doubt.
You all know the feeling. Everybody listening to this is a fantasy sports player, and we all have stories like that. You just can't believe it didn't work out your way.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, we're going to roll over to overlay when we're all done with this. We're going to talk about the QB challenge because the normal progressive jackpots are not up this week. If you're interested in signing up, go give it a look-see. And for the rest of today and tomorrow, we will continue to run the promotion for lifetime members. That's $100 off. We got NBA starting in 2 days, folks. It's a great time. You get both sports that are current with it, plus you get baseball, no future payments. You're permanently good with us at that point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're talking GPP quarterback right now specifically. And our boy, I mean, he's your GPP guy today, but I like him as well. He makes a lot of sense. And I do think it's worth noting that, like, while Hollywood Brown and Boykin are not like these major difference makers, I think it's better for him that they're around today. So Lamar Jackson, to me, has got a lot of upside in the spot against Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's got a lot of upside in this spot. I like him quite a bit here. He's finally starting to play well again. Coming off two really good games. He had that game against Dallas, and he played really good on Monday Night Football. And, yeah, he's my favorite QB on the board. I like him. You can use him. You can run him naked. You can stack him with whoever you want. I wanted to ask you, though, because we mentioned him as the GPP QB, and I like him a lot there. He is getting the most ownership of any QB on the board. I don't know if you have someone else that you like more in cash games. Does that change things for you at all?
I can't afford him in cash games. There's just too
That's
many
fair.
other there's too many other plays
So,
that are
like,
bigger money that I don't he doesn't fit my build.
so if you were spending up, you'd have no problem going to him in cash games. It just is a different build.
Yeah, nothing's changed
Okay.
since the beginning of the week. He's my favorite quarterback. I just don't have the money for him this week. And I think most people understand where they might be spending their money. They just can't swing the high price quarterback this
And
week.
when I say he's projected to be the most popular quarterback, that means he's coming in at like 14% owned. Not that he's coming in at like 30% owned. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I think quarterback's pretty well spread out this week. We will see. Um, Again, though, if I'm just picking a guy for raw points, this is my guy.
I mean, listen, Jacksonville's not good. Baltimore's in a groove right now. Again, coming off two really good wins. I think this is just a total beatdown by Baltimore. I think where Lamar runs two in here, throws in another. I like him a lot here. Obviously, one of the best floors in all of fantasy and a really high ceiling in this spot.
In a game where they need to win, and I
Yeah.
know it's kind of a mismatch, like can't be shy with the legs today, Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as far as the running back position goes, nothing's changed from earlier this week. I think there's a couple of locks that you have to use in cash games. Have to is a strong word. Should use, and this is one of them right here. I assume Cam Akers will be one of the running backs that gets good love today at this price tag. Everybody watched him play at whatever it was, like 10 days ago when he just ran all over the Patriots. Very, very fresh legs. Yes, the Jets are, I mean, they're solid against the run. On a yards per carry average, they're actually one of the better teams in the NFL. The big difference for me with the Rams versus other teams, and it's a point that you'll bring up a lot, is that they're stubborn. They're going to keep running the ball. I fully expect Akers as a home favorite against the worst team in football to see 20-plus touches, and he's good enough to make that work against anyone.
So another point that you like to make when we talk about quarterbacks sometimes, like even if Akers isn't efficient today, you expect him to just get the rock a ton, right? The Rams are going to have the ball a lot. Their defense is probably not going to be on the field a whole lot. They're going to really shut down the Jets offense, I would assume. The Rams are going to have the ball a lot. They're going to be in the red zone a lot. They're going to be in scoring position a lot. So again, even if Akers isn't that efficient today, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to score, to catch a few balls. He's just in a really good spot. And then just imagine if he does break a long one.
I mean, you got a team out here checking out sunny West Coast from New York. I mean, how much do the Jets care right now, too? They've been pretty solid against the run all year. I mean, it's at the point of the year where you almost just might be like, dude, it's time to go home. Can you just please put us out of our misery? So it's just, I'm not like overly concerned about the Jets' run game right here, but it is worth noting they've been decent against it all year.
It's worth noting because he's getting a lot of love, but I agree with you. It's not like don't play him because of that.
Yeah, this is like you like a guy in the right spot. I'll take maybe that he's not going to be the top tier of all efficiency today. And he still could because he's really good.
No doubt about it.
All right, speaking of running backs, cover boy today, Alvin Kamara. Drew Brees is back. Michael Thomas is out. Kansas City's here in New Orleans. I expect Kamara, of all the running backs we've talked about, who do you think is more popular, Akers or Kamara?
Kamara.
Okay, yeah, I think Kamara is hella popular today. I get the idea of fading him in GPPs, but man, this is just a cash game lock.
I think Kamara is by far the highest owned player on the slate. And quite honestly, he might not even be high owned enough. Like, yeah, I can always get on board with fading a really high owned player because that's how I like to play. But it's not just about fading one player. It's about the total ownership of your team, right? It's something you talk about a lot. So if I have a couple guys that aren't getting much love at all that I like a lot, I have no problem running Kamara. I don't want my lineup to be full of chalky players. But I like Kamara a lot, regardless of ownership. I mean, what's not to like in a game that I think New Orleans is going to be competitive in? He's, first off, just much better than this price tag. He's priced like this for Taysom Hill to be in. Drew Brees is back. I mean, I'm playing him, I'll tell you that much.
And you're hearing that from a guy who would fade any chalk anytime, anywhere. So I'm with you. The cash game block, he's probably the first person you put in your lineup. And if you like him like you do, and most people seem to, just run him wherever, as much as you want. I'm going to run 3 GPPs today by myself, and I'll probably play him in 2.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next up, Brandon Ayuk, or pronounce it for me one more time since I screw it up 9 times out of 10.
Ayuk.
I was practicing it all morning. I still said it wrong. So, again, as we brought up earlier in the week, the world lost a couple of Deebos this week, and Deebo Samuel is out for the San Francisco 49ers. We know Dallas has got a very, very less than stellar defense, to put it politely. He's a part of a crop of really good wide receivers in the NFL right now, and this guy has just been balling 20 plus, or basically 20 plus in 5 straight. He's good. They're going to have to feed him. He's the focal point of the offense with no Kittle or Deebo Samuel. Look for him to just kind of keep chugging along right now.
He's another guy that is really starting to progress through his rookie season. He's getting a decent amount of love here, but he should be getting a decent amount of love because he's still very affordable. We know that Dallas gives it up all over the field. He's got nice rapport with Nick Mullins. No Deebo. He's been good with Deebo, without Deebo. He's got like 25 targets over the last 2 weeks. A ton to like here, man. I'm more on board now than I was even at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I kind of heard him mentioned a little bit. I'm sure he'll get some love today. Wide receiver, it's hard to be as chalky as running back because the positions aren't quite as obvious sometimes, but I expect him to be well into the double digits.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last up, you wanted to pivot off of a cheaper wide receiver we talked about to your favorite defense of the day.
Yeah, so I like Baltimore a lot in this spot. I got a gut call GPP. I guess you could say one-off, although it's kind of different when you talk about defenses. So Baltimore, obviously coming off a couple good wins, had that tough game against Cleveland on Monday night. Definite chance for a letdown spot after that, but something you talked about a couple minutes ago. Baltimore needs wins. I mean, they have to win every game they're in. This should be a game that they get up for with Yannick Ngakoue going back to Jacksonville. I know that was a point of contempt for him. He had wanted out of there for a while. Took them a while to trade him. I know it's been talked about all week over there, him going back there. And I don't care about like the revenge game for him. I care about the defense getting up for him. This is a good spot for them against Gardner Minshew, a guy that can move the ball but can also turn the ball over. I just think Baltimore has big time upside here. We all know that defenses are very random. If you want a defense that if you have a defense that scores really high, it's probably because they got a pick six or did something crazy like that. You can never predict that. But I think Baltimore is in the best spot for upside of any D on the slate, except for maybe the Rams because they're playing the Jets. And they're also significantly more expensive than even the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, you almost failed to mention the fact that the Jags also suck.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's not much of a breakdown for most of you guys who already knew that, but Jaguars are terrible. I mean, they've had some moments this year where you want to applaud their effort, but this is another team with absolutely nothing to play for. I mean, their best motivation is to keep losing and hope somebody tanks against the Jets week 17.
Yep, I'm thinking about what you asked me about Bill Belichick, losing that game to the Jets to stop them from getting Trevor Lawrence. I could see it.
Man, if there's anybody you can see doing it, it's Belichick, right?
Yeah, because he's playing chess, not checkers.
I can't blame him for doing it. It actually really, really makes sense for him to try to tank that game. I don't want Trevor Lawrence in my division for the next 15 years.
Hell no.
Unless he plans on leaving.
Yeah, right?
All right, so they don't have the normal progressive jackpots up on overlay this week, so we're going to run through the QB shootout. I know you had mentioned wanting to play in earlier this week anyway.
Yeah, which I'm hyped we're breaking down because I'm going to join it as we do it.
All right, so first things first, we got Lamar Jackson taking on Pat Mahomes. And I think this is where the standard, I don't want to pick on Pat Mahomes, but I prefer Lamar Jackson type of scenario applies.
Insert that phrase here.
Yeah, again, I'm with you. I don't want to bet against Patrick Mahomes. It's one, if I picked it, it would be near the bottom because anytime you pick against Patrick Mahomes, it's difficult. But if I had to, I'm with you. I think Lamar, I like what I'm seeing out of his legs lately. New Orleans defense coming off one of their worst games in recent history last week. Should play hard. So.
That's the big thing for me, is the New Orleans D against Jacksonville D.
All right, we got Kyler taking on Deshaun. I'm going to go with Kyler. I have been off of Kyler for about a month. I was encouraged by the 11 or 13 rushing attempts last week, but also Philly has got some issues on the defensive end of things. Kyler Murray is not, Tom Brady in his prime, zipping it around the field with his arm, but he's going to have a good spot to be in as far as the cornerbacks he's going to be paired up against today.
No doubt about it, and I completely understand why you're picking that one. I'm going to go against the grain a little bit and go Watson, just a gut call. I have him in my year-long league. I need a big game. And I imagine that no one will pick Watson here. I might be the only person to pick Watson.
Yeah. I mean, Kyler's been bad for a lot of people, though, recently. So we'll see. I don't know. I do think Murray would be the more popular pick, but I don't know if he'll be the only one.
All right, fair enough. Maybe I got a little too aggressive there.
All right, next up, Andy Dalton against San Francisco, Nick Mullins against Dallas. I'm going to go with Mullins. I actually kind of like him as a sneakier GPP play today.
Me too, man. I'm so happy you said that, yet I'm kind of mad you said that because now I feel like I have to have exposure there.
Well, he's very, very cheap. Like I mentioned him as like a cash game quarterback. Yeah, you don't feel safe with him. But there's some good high-priced players this week, and if you want them, you got to spend down somewhere.
Dallas sucks.
Yeah, Dallas is – I mean, they're just not very good on defense. You all know that.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, Trubisky against Minnesota, Cousins against Chicago. That's a tough one.
Yeah, this is a real tough one. I lean Cousins, though.
Yeah. Oh, man, must-win spot for both teams right here. I like the matchup slightly better for Trubisky, but it's not like the Bears' defense really scares you.
This might be the toughest one on the board, though, for me.
Yeah, this is tough. Give me Mitch, but I might pick. I might switch that before I even pick. That's a tough one.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Tua or Cam? Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Bellman. I don't like either of these guys. Give me Tua?
Give me Cam. I like New England in this game a lot.
Okay. I like Belichick against rookie quarterbacks. I don't like Cam against anybody right now, and I don't like anybody against Miami. I wouldn't touch either of these guys in a DraftKings or a FanDuel.
I couldn't agree with that anymore. So, yeah, I just like him more than Tua, if I wasn't clear.
Jared Goff against Russell Wilson.
I think these guys are two sleepers today on pay sites. I'm going to go with the upside of Wilson, though, because I think Goff could have a good game, but I just don't see the high ceiling like a Russell Wilson.
Oh, I like the idea of Jared Goff and pivoting off of Cam Akers, but this isn't a situation where you're pivoting. I mean, the spot's better for Goff. Washington's defense has actually been phenomenal lately, but come on, Russ against Goff, you're almost always going to pick Russ. It's another good question.
I didn't even think about that. Like Wilson versus Goff. Like, come on, just give me Wilson. I don't care about the matchups or anything else.
Right, but quarterback against the Jets versus quarterback against Washington, that's a major discrepancy.
No doubt. Like, it's not easy. I'm still going to lean Wilson because I like that point, but you're 100% right. I mean, it's a question for a reason. And I will say, just for anyone who's playing this, you have to pick all of them. The last three will be your alternate. So, what it is.
I'm going to go Jared Goff. Jets suck. I'll just go with that. But, man, it doesn't feel right to pick against Russ. Although they got some offensive line problems. That Washington D line,
True.
it's the best feature they have.
This is true.
All right, Matt Ryan against Tampa Bay, Phillip Rivers against Houston. Give me Phillip Rivers. I don't like Matt Ryan without Julio quite as much.
This one might be my favorite one on the board. Definitely give me Rivers here. Houston sucks. I think Atlanta struggles today. They're another one of these teams that I think is dead.
All right, Jalen Hurts against Ryan Tannehill. So this would have been more of a question for me yesterday, but I definitely think like Derrick Henry, this is his game right here. Detroit again is worst in the league against running backs. Also, Arizona leads the league in running man defense, which against a scrambling quarterback like Jalen Hurts gives him a solid baseline of points.
I'm still going to go Tannehill. I was on Hurts last week, and I think he might play well again today, but I think the Tennessee offense is just in a real good spot for points, and that's what I'm going to ride with here.
What, you don't think the Lions have a good defense?
Yeah, right. So there's no argument that Derrick Henry's in such a crush spot, but they could both be. And this one's definitely a hard one for me. I'm not excited about picking it. It will be an alternate for me.
Yeah, I get that. Derrick Henry isn't a crush spot. That's something everybody knows. Doesn't take an upper echelon DFS player to know that one of the best running backs in the game, coming off like 40 points in 2 out of 3 weeks against the worst run defense in the league from a DFS perspective, is in a good spot. But it's not crazy to think Tannehill throws in 4 touchdowns running that play action type of scheme.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm with you. I get that. This is a good set of questions here.
Yeah, real good set of questions. I'm going to play it because it's exciting, but not one I'm like, oh, I feel like I definitely have the nuts here, you know?
Yeah, if the entry fee was 111 versus 11, you might think about it a little bit more.
I would be thinking about it a lot more, yes.
All right, guys. So that's what we got for today. Wish everybody the best of luck. Go out there and get it today, and best of luck in your fantasy playoffs as well.
Thanks, guys.